Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Scott Lawson, certified business coach with ActionCOACH of Coastal Bend in South Texas, and I will be your host today. I'm very excited to have our special guest, Perry Languirand, on our show. Perry is the president and CEO of SciQuest Global. Today, we're going to talk to Perry about his business, his journey to business ownership, some challenges, some successes. We'll have him share what it's really like to own and operate a business as an entrepreneur. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe so you get notifications when we publish new content. Well, Perry, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We are glad to have you. This is going to be a fun conversation. I've looked forward to it, and I'd love to learn more about you and about the business. And I'd like to just kind of kick it off by maybe a little bit of a personal question. Tell me how you got started. Tell about Perry.
Well, I got started real young. I got chose for the Texas governor's entrepreneur class when I was in the 6th grade.
That is young.
Yes, it was. They saw something in me apparently because my mom married a gentleman that was in the Navy, and we went to California when I was about 13. And at that point in time, that's when I started my first business. And with that first business, I did a lot with dry cleaning companies, believe it or not. Went in, cleaned them from head to toe, had people set up to actually clean the dry cleaning machines out.
Wow.
And even had minor maintenance people that went in. And that one I kind of got kicked out of because the state that we moved to identified a juvenile as taking out hazardous chemicals.
I
So I
see.
ended up having to get rid of that. Well, I actually sold it. So it was the first time I actually owned a business and sold it. So
At what age?
13. In
That's
fact, it
amazing.
was before my 14th birthday, I actually had to get rid of it. So it was
You had
kind of,
started and sold a business by age 14.
yep, by the age 14, I was already there. And it kind of went up from there because when I was 14, I joined a water purification company, and they had me as a district manager, which was a little bit more than I expected because these folks wanted me home from school, and
I see.
I wasn't playing that. I had to go to school, and at that point I kind of calmed down and just acted my age till about 16 and a half-ish. And at that point in time I graduated from high school. And my journey really started there because I went Army for a little while, and that's where I got a lot of the foothold of skills that I've learned that I've carried on today, even within
Wow.
SciQuest. And but when I kind of got early retirement, not due to a good thing, but I ended up getting injured while I was in the Army.
Oh,
And the company I'm running now has basically been it since that time, and that's back in 1991. Everything really started with SciQuest.
I see. Well, I would like to thank you for your service to my country. And then I'd like to also ask about SciQuest Global. What is the business and how did you get started in that? And what's it look like today?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. But SciQuest Global started off as Terabyte X, and what Terabyte X was, we were a BBS system. We were huge. We had probably 110 lines going through Arizona connecting the system. And at that point in time, one of the guys I was in the Army with got out, and we actually we changed over to terabyte computers and started doing normal break fix on computers, networking, and stuff like that. And taking a lot of complaints that AOL CD didn't load up today, and
Mm.
kind of went on from there and just stayed that route for a good probably about 5 years. And at that point in time, we really got into the internet hookups. And that kind of really launched us because we both really understood networking. We understood communications at long distances because that's what we did in the Army.
Oh.
And we were both into real heavily into security because a lot of people don't realize the internet started well before AOL. People think AOL was the start, but it wasn't. So we knew about security and we started maintaining some of the bigger companies in Arizona, keeping them secure, keeping them basically happy and running.
Hmm.
And my
Now,
partner just,
were at that point in time, I'm just curious, were hackers an issue when you talk about keeping them secure? Were there bad guys hacking into systems yet?
no, we're talking about young kids.
I
Uh,
see.
well, I shouldn't say young because they were my age at that point in time. A lot of college people, because the biggest travesty that a lot of us had from back then to today is a lot of the software companies had their software on their websites for free.
Hmm.
And a lot of people just didn't know about these websites, so nobody went to them. And so we got up to a point when probably about 2002-ish, my business partner decided he was moving to Germany. And he wanted to take the name with him. So we, of course, he took the name and I changed the name to what is now SideQuest.
Oh.
And he did really good with Terabyte. He became one of Germany's largest internet providers for years.
Hmm.
And uh, we kind of kept SideQuest going the way that it was with the break fix and the networking. And at this point in time, we had actually gotten moved over in 2003 here to Texas, where we're at now in San Antonio, because the
Okay.
county of Uvalde wanted to hire us to do a whole bunch of IT work for them. And so we kind of came here. We didn't have expectations to stay. We were coming in to do jobs for them, but we kind of, at that point in time, really fell in love with the city of Uvalde and
Hmm.
everything around in Texas at that point in time. So we just kind of stayed here.
I see.
And we kept up till about probably 2008, 2009. That's when we really hit back doing the MSP side of the house, where we didn't have to go to clients. We could watch if anybody went down, we knew when they were going down, which was really fun because with our software, we could actually, and I've done this, walk into an office and go, I need you off your computer because your hard drive's going to die, and then watch it die and
Oh,
have
wow.
them look at me like I'm a nut job. But
But you could predict when that was going to happen just from the information you could see.
oh yeah, the
Hmm.
information that we see as an MSP, we see everything as far as what a administrator should see.
Hmm.
We can't see what you're doing on your computer. We can't see what you're typing, but we can see how your computer is living.
I see.
And at that point in time, I took on more of a real hardcore cybersecurity approach towards stuff too, because we started having a lot of hacking, and we started seeing a lot of the FBI virus popping up. And for those who don't know what it is the FBI virus was really the first attempt to really scare people to kind of ransomware them. I think
I
this is
see.
where ransomware came from, because
Hmm.
basically it was a program, it would take a picture of you, take a 5-second audio of you, and then throw up a screen over your desktop, play the audio, and show the picture of you. And then would tell you where to call, and then they would come in and clean it off normally. But we of course all figured out what it was and was able to fix stuff. But at that point in time, we were running a lot of different checkers to make sure that somebody wasn't downloading it because they were getting it from crazy places. They were getting it from AOL, they were getting it from
Mm,
their internet providers. CNN would give out the viruses without knowing. Any major studio did.
mm-hmm,
Then at that point in time, we started seeing a real pickup and buildup of the viruses coming out, and we kind of started really continuing more on the virus and compliances more than the MSP side of the house, and that's where we're at today.
mm-hmm. Okay. And so you're located in San Antonio or in the San Antonio area, I guess I should say. Um, uh, and and it is Uvalde is really your real home, it sounds like. And it is. Can you describe from a business perspective the company? Does everything happen remotely, or do you physically make house calls, or is it? And what is your typical day like?
Well, we don't do primarily house calls anymore or have customers come in anymore. Mostly everything is remote. Most stuff that we can actually fix, we actually fix remotely. If
Okay.
it's a hardware issue, a lot of times it's either best for them to, take it to Best Buy to replace something because there's not much more of a cost for them to install video cards or this. And a lot of the other stuff, we can tell them, hey, your mouse is broken. Go and buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
don't need to pay us to come out to deal with a lot of stuff.
So it doesn't sound like there's much geographic limitation on who your clientele can be.
Oh no, we are recently talking with a group in Saudi Arabia about picking up their
Mhm.
cybersecurity on a remote basis.
I see. Yeah, that's interesting. Tell me, when you think back, Perry, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you made along the way? What did you learn from them?
One of the biggest mistakes, and this is going to be a big hint for people, is don't try to wear too many hats.
Okay.
If you can hire somebody to do something, do it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause a lot of times I would actually take on a hat that I really didn't understand,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of financial stuff. I'm good at numbers. I can do financial stuff, but when it comes to some of the heavier stuff, no,
Great
no,
advice.
no, no. And trying to do everything all at once is a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have enough time in the day. Um, one of
And
the other,
we often find ourselves advising business owners. Not only do you not have enough time in the day, every minute you're spending doing one of these things you could have hired someone to do means that minute could not have been spent doing what your expertise is and in getting more customers. So there's an opportunity cost to doing those things.
oh yeah, definitely, because one of the big things I always tell clients is I'm here to do your cybersecurity, your compliance training, and your MSP are keeping your computers healthy so you can keep your business going.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that is a key point. And a lot of financial stuff, a lot of the newer technologies that's coming out is stuff that I will just pawn off to those who have been
Mm-hmm.
trained to use it or trained to use it in business, I should say.
Great. Good advice. Other mistakes that you learned from.
Other mistakes is make sure you know what you're talking about to a client.
Mm,
Because there's been times that clients have told me one thing, and all it would have taken was one question that I felt they should know that they really didn't know.
mm,
And it has changed everything, the
mm-hmm.
whole scope of what we're working on.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Good communications are always important.
Yes, they are. Yes, it is.
Right. Right. Tell me, when you look into the future, say 5 years, what's your expectation? What are your aspirations for SciQuest in the next 5 years?
A lot of AI stuff. We're
Mm-hmm.
really moving heavy into AI. So my aspirations towards using AI is really integrating it more into the systems we use. Um, right now, we are limited on the stuff that we have been using AI because a lot of people don't realize how far back AI actually has been going on. And we've used it for cybersecurity, for the MSP side of the house, for the remote repairs, but we're starting to really jump up with that to bring on more clients for us. A lot more sales calls are being done with AI, where in the past it was done 100% by humans.
Mm,
And so we're doing that to kind of drive our more clients to us for that specific reason.
I see. And you expect that to multiply in the next few years.
Well, I foresee AI is really going to be taking over a lot of positions that we do. In fact, the funny thing was I went through a class this morning where even I'm on the chopping block for AI, which is perfectly fine. We got the paycheck still coming in. There you go. I will take my wife and we'll go sit on the beach somewhere.
Yeah, that's an interesting chopping block when the AI can take your work, but not necessarily take your pay. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you think about success, Perry, who's the first person you think of and why?
Ross Perot has always been one of my heroes. Hearing how he started his first business and how his office was out of the trunk of his car originally to where it ended up in that massive building in Dallas and with all the different locations he had. And I really liked the man because he was the only person I have ever met that can go from this Dallas place to Tucson, where I was at working at EDS at that point in time, and have him walk in and go up to people and point out certain people and wish them a happy birthday because he
Mm,
knew it was their birthday. He knew them by name. He
wow.
knew their kids by name. And that just flabbergasted me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember names too well, so I wish I was just like the man.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
It,
great.
he was a great man. He really was. He was
Mhm.
very down to earth. He didn't act like he was worth what he was worth.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. That's always special to see.
Yes, it
And
is.
probably a good example as we look to him and others like that. If
Yep.
you could do it all over again, Perry, what would you do differently?
Oh, goodness. Well, me and my partner back in the day would have structured ourselves better.
Okay.
Because I think that was one of the biggest holdups that I had was we're not structured. So when he left, there was no structure behind what we had. We
Mm-hmm.
have basically did rock, paper, scissors to figure out who was answering the call today or who was going on a call today, or if both of us had to go. So I think we would have structured stuff a little bit better. We would have definitely had some people under us, doing different things under us. We would have hired people to take phone calls only. We would have hired people to do different things. And that would have been one of the cheap things that I would have focused on differently. But I would have also moved us into the realm of remote working way
Mm,
quicker than I did.
I see.
Because that really started up in the early 90s to mid 90s was the remote working, and we could have been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We could have been, because all the people who were first on the shelf are the ones who have the most money right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There was an advantage to being first.
Yep.
That's right. If I thank you for that, and I might kind of get to the last question about how people would get in touch with you, but I'll pause here, Perry. Is there something that I haven't covered in my questions that you'd like to express to our audience before we kind of get to the end?
Well, the only thing that I really got to say, and it's not really a marketing push towards me. It's a marketing push to anybody who's cybersecurity or compliance out there. But anybody who runs a business, doesn't matter who you are, even if you're a one-man operation, get yourself cybersecurity, get yourself compliant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till it's too late, because too late means that you're looking at spending billions instead of 100 or 200 or $300 a month.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing I could say.
Great. Great advice. So, what's the best way for our audience members to learn more about you and your business?
Well, of course, they could look me up on LinkedIn, but they could also go to SciQuest.com and then CY-QUEST.com, which is our company website, or reach out via phone at 210-761-3332, and you might actually get lucky and hear my voice, because I still do answer phone calls.
Great. Great. Well, Perry, thank you very much for sharing your story. This has been very interesting. I hope the audience finds it informative and valuable. This is the Business Spotlight Series with Scott Lawson from Action Coach of Coastal Bend and Perry Languirand of
Yep, thank you.
SciQuest Global. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see great content. Thank you for watching or listening today. Bye for now.